Hello, everybody, once again. My name is PJ.
Chris from over in Minnesota.
Yep, I'm from here in Wisconsin. This is For the North, and this is episode number 9. So I just want to, thank all of y'all for tuning in, listening to our, ranting about the NFC North. But we've got another fun episode ahead. We're going to recap game action. We're going to talk about the Lions and the Commanders game. We're going to talk about the Bears and their another thrilling victory for them over the Giants. We're going to talk about we're going to touch a little bit on the disappointment that was the Monday Night Football matchup between the Packers and the Eagles. And then we're going to finish this off and recap the game between the Vikings and the Ravens. So with that, let's dive in. Let's talk football.
Yeah, with the Lions and Commanders, there really wasn't much surprise for me there, especially when they do not have a starting quarterback right now. They need to figure out who they are, both on offense and defense. But it's hard when you have key players out. They did seem on paper like they were going to do very well going into this year. The Commanders did. And the Lions just, they came in, took advantage of the situation that was given, and won the game versus a team that really does not have a clear identity on either side of the ball right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this when we were previewing the matchup, that it's just, Washington is still, at the beginning of the year, we considered Washington as a very talented team, a playoff contending team. They're a team that a year ago made it all the way to the NFC Championship. So I think if you're a fan of Washington, if you're just kind of an NFL observer from an outside perspective, it's kind of a bit of a head scratcher to watch this kind of unraveling of a team, at least on the offensive side of the ball, that had high hopes, high aspirations for this year. But we talked about the fact that it was going to be really hard for the Commanders to overcome the fact that they're missing Jaden Daniels and they've lost running backs and they're kind of playing a patchwork defense at this point, and Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin have been in and out of that lineup due to injuries this year. So the consistency is just not there, and when you're going up against a team like the Lions, they can easily and quickly exploit those weaknesses. It was, again, another game that featured Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They, absolutely are the engine for this offense. Jared Goff looked fantastic, and a fun wrinkle to note is that it was acknowledged post-game by Dan Campbell that he was calling plays in the second half of that game. So, at least for now, there seems to be some tension with the offensive coordinator and the head coach of the Lions. So that's kind of a situation to see develop, but not really much more to say other than kind of the Lions took care of business exactly like we thought they would in this match.
Yeah, and we'll definitely keep our eye on the news and that situation as it develops and provide further updates. Good time to tell you if you want to receive updates from us, please like and subscribe down below. And with that little blurb, we'll move in to the Bears and the Giants. You know what? Like, the game kind of went how I thought it was going to go, with, you know, it being a little bit back and forth. I feel like the Bears are the better team, yet I feel like they also should have won by more and had a more convincing win. One score wins are exciting. I know as a Vikings fan, I've, been on the edge of my seat a little too much over the past few years.
Yeah, both sides
but,
of that.
Yeah, it's just like going down the stretch, they're going to have to play some great defenses, including next week, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
I just don't see them going the distance or very far in the playoffs at all.
Yeah.
If they can't just, put their foot on the gas against some of these teams where they should easily beat at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Caleb Williams played great in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
He showed a lot of flashes of promise, and I'm never going to say Caleb Williams is a bust, but I will say that he is not quite to where they need him to be yet. He's heading in that direction.
Yeah.
He had a great game, 20 for 36, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, solid. And really took control of their own destiny in that last quarter.
Yeah.
However, I don't know how long they can rely on one-score wins versus teams that, quite frankly, like I said, they should be blowing out of the water with some of the talent they have on their offense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, this, we've talked about this, kind of, this has been the running kind of topic of conversation that we've had about the Bears throughout the entirety of this podcast, is that the Bears are beating teams that they're supposed to beat, but it's never been a convincing, overwhelming blowout victory for them. The last time we saw a blowout victory was against the Cowboys, and that was, when the Cowboys were really trying to figure out how to right the ship. But currently, looking at what the Bears have done in all of their wins, they're beating teams that are sub 500. They're teams with losing records. I mean, the Giants are 2-8, and after this game got their head coach fired, and they beat the Saints, who have 2 or 3 wins. They beat the Cowboys, who currently have 3, maybe 4 wins. So we're talking about teams that, just as you said, they should put their foot on the gas, and they should be beating these teams comfortably by 2, sometimes 3 scores. They have the talent to do it. Ben Johnson is a very phenomenal head coach. The ceiling, the upward potential for Caleb Williams is so high, and I can see where it's going, and I can understand the excitement from Bears fans. The talk right now is very loud coming from Bears fans in the NFC North. They're riding high right now because they're, rightfully
Oh,
so.
one of our good friends included. Shout out Robert Harper. We see you enjoying yourself now.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
enjoy it. Right, enjoy it. Um, but you're making a fantastic point that the Bears. How long can this continue to go on where they continue to hold on and get these thrilling one score victories or last second blocked field goals or missed tackle touchdowns by their tight ends, right? Um, I would like to see it from start to finish. The Bears be able to build a lead and hold on to it and not give it up and have a comfortable victory. Um, I mean, I don't really like the Bears, but as an NFC North fan, I want to see them succeed and kind of push to make this division competitive. But we're going to talk about it a little bit later that they have this stretch of their schedule coming up where they're going to start playing teams that have records that are 500 or better, and they're going to start playing defenses that can actually get stops and consistently make this offense not function for the Bears. So I'm really interested to see how it's going to play out over the next few weeks here. They've got a really kind of brutal meat grinder part of the schedule here where they're going to play the Vikings and the Steelers. They go up against the Eagles and then the Packers. So I think we're going to learn a lot about them, and we're going to see truly if they're a contender or a pretender, right? So, but do it. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Show me that you can do it against a legitimate contending team, and then we'll have a conversation, Bears fans. And that's no shade to the Bears. They've been playing really well, and rightfully so. They deserve to celebrate right now, but let's see how this unfolds over the next few weeks.
Right, and I kind of feel like throughout the NFC North, the teams with winning records right now, I kind of look at it and I'm like, yes, they've beaten quite a few opponents and sometimes impressively. Not to knock a couple of the wins there, but it's wins they should have had.
Right. Yeah.
If it, yeah, just I haven't seen it very many upsets yet. So it's going to be an interesting second half to the season, and we'll get into that as we the season progresses. But let's switch gears here
Yeah.
to
The Monday night
Packers and
letdown.
Eagles. It's was quite the snooze fest for a while there.
Yeah.
For all fans involved.
Yeah. I mean, I think really just the word that I come up with for kind of the feeling coming out of that is that was just all around a really kind of disappointing and embarrassing display and performance from both teams on the national stage. Like when you have every eyeball on you, like every NFL fan is tuning into Monday Night Football, except for those that have YouTube TV. That's a whole nother issue to talk about. But the point I'm making is that when you are the only game in a prime time slot, that was billed earlier this season as one of the matchups that was going to be a premier, a premier primetime matchup. This could be a preview of what we see later down the road in a divisional round game, in an NFC championship sort of game. The product that we got on the field as fans was not that. It was if that is what's to come later down the road, that was, as I said, embarrassing. Just kind of all around watching the two offenses that are have a ton of talent underperform and not score a single point in the first half was perplexing. To watch Philadelphia, who has a fantastic offense only scored 10 points. And then it to come down to kind of a 2 minute drive that ended up ultimately failing for the Packers is just. I was very frustrated, and I aired my frustrations to you. I texted you after that game, and I had a whole kind of paragraph as to why it's embarrassing and why it's been this up and down frustration with what we're seeing on the offensive side of the ball. What makes that loss just kind of so much more frustrating to me on Monday night is that the defense, for once, for the Packers, did their job, right? They held the defending Super Bowl champ to 10 points and kept the Packers in this game until really the very end of it. So you can't really ask anything more of the defense. Your offense.
Yeah, for once they played a halfway decent game. I also think, like, with it being cold, it benefits the defense quite a bit because you have to throw the ball a bit harder, and it becomes rock solid. And when you can't run the ball, which I don't know what's going on with Saquon Barkley. It's like one game he'll be amazing. Yep. One game he'll just,
not
do anything.
Yeah.
It's quite the conundrum. And if I'm an Eagles fan, with all the money that was spent on him to get him there, is quite. I'd be quite frustrated. I feel that there are a number of weaknesses on both sides of the ball for both teams that were exposed.
Oh, yeah.
Just
for sure.
Especially in that last quarter, those last 2 minutes, when the Eagles just were like, all right, you know what? We held them here. Like, now let's play. Like, and they played for a couple of drives and managed to win the game, but that's all they had to do.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was not a great performance by either team.
No, not at all. I mean, again, it was embarrassing to watch. If you're a fan of the Eagles, if you're a fan of the Packers, you got to come out of that game being both frustrated and embarrassed with it. What I'm really scratching my head about is that for years when we had Aaron Rodgers, our offense, the Packers' offense, was just so great, and we were like, if we could just get a defense, man, what we could do if we just had a defense, right? And year after year, we watched our defense let us down, and now finally we get a defense, and now our offense is just in shambles. And it's like the opposite problem. Like, it's like I don't feel like Green Bay, at least in recent years, has had this many offensive problems. I mean, bad. I can just, like, to point out a few things. It's been really bad offensive line play all year. They cannot run block, and that's causing problems for Josh Jacobs. They have lost offensive skill players in Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft. Their lineman Elton Jenkins went down for the year with a lower leg fracture on Monday night. So this team has been a little bit plagued by injuries, but that's really never an excuse. The other thing is the play calling has just been so inconsistently bad. Flashes of good, but really kind of inconsistently bad at a time when we need good offensive play calling. So it's just, there's, just a slew of issues that I could talk all day about. And as I said, I aired my grievances, so I don't want to sit here and complain about it more.
We can move on.
Let's move on.
Let's go with the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Baltimore Ravens. The Vikings had a fast start, a really good start. It's just didn't quite go their way. One of the big reasons for that was 8 false starts. You can't have that many pre-snap penalties at home. Yeah. It's also if you're with the number 1 receiver in the league, I'm not, you know what, he tripped. That's fine. Yeah. But there was a touchdown pass that was right on the money, and you managed to miss the catch. It's just, it's unacceptable.
Yeah,
from this team. The Vikings beat themselves. Yeah. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, you got to catch it. If you're Jefferson, you got to catch that. A lot of things that I've seen floating around, mind you, I'm not a Vikings fan, but a lot of what I saw floating around after the game was just kind of a general frustration with, man, we've seen flashes of greatness with J.J. McCarthy, and then there's some like really inconsistent bad moments. And this is just kind of the nature of having a rookie QB. We've talked about this. Well, rookie, he's a first-time starter, right? So effectively a rookie, but this is what happens with a young QB. The other thing that I was seeing is there was a lot of comments about kind of Jefferson not really making a huge impact on this game, and kind of there was a kind of comments about his lack of effort or his lack of engagement in this game, his kind of visible frustration with this game. I am not in the camp of believing that Justin Jefferson has any animosity towards his QB. I do not think that is the case. I think that Justin Jefferson is a competitive wide receiver who wants to win, and that's where the frustration is coming from.
Right. I don't think, like, I'm not gonna say that he didn't make any effort, because like, no, like, a lot of people are claiming that online, and I'm just not in that camp. Yeah. I think he was running great routes. I just think there were a couple things that didn't go the Vikings' way, and it's frustrating when that happens. Yeah. However, things happen, you know. The biggest killer was the fumble on the kickoff return. Mm-hmm. Gotta protect the ball a little bit better, especially that late in the game. Because if you are Miles Price, you're wanting to make sure that you go down and you have the ball, you're protecting it at all costs. Yep. Not making any unnecessary moves to try to get as far up the field as possible. Mm-hmm. So that's nice. You need to know how to play smart. It's also like the play calling, like I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit. 3rd and 1 going 2 deep balls in the game. I was a little confused on that when you have 2 running backs that could pick that up along with your offensive line. That's, you know what, we might actually see all 5 starters here in a little bit. Knock on wood that I didn't just jinx it. But it's one of the things that I was frustrated with, but those who are saying like, oh, Kevin O'Connell is the worst play caller of all time, I'm like, I can't say that because he's had so much success. Yeah. And then everybody calling for it like, oh, you need to simplify the playbook. I'm like, don't you think teams would catch on to that? Really? It's like, this is my frustration with the fan base, is that a lot of people who want to talk a big game wouldn't, like, just don't know as much as they think they know. I agree that, JJ McCarthy probably needs to, you know what, if he steps forward, doesn't throw that pass, runs a football instead of trying to force something, that's a much better chance at making a play to potentially get a first down on third down, because it was a second and long, I believe, or a second and medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just things that are going to develop with time. You look at Jordan Love, his first year, he was making a bunch of plays like that.
He was.
But then again, I said, like I told you, PJ, like, you just got to be patient,
Yeah.
especially with a young quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm like, the Vikings fan base is all like, oh, yeah, we should go out and get Kirk Cousins again. He was great. I'm like, yeah, I mean, he put up a lot of stats. He was a good quarterback for us. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
It's time to stop relying on washed up old quarterbacks. And I'm not saying that Sam Darnold was. That was a different reason we traded him, and I'll get to that in a second. Or that we let him walk, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't rely on, quote unquote, veteran quarterbacks to come in and be our savior. We need to spend some time developing a young guy to be the future of the franchise.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think Kevin O'Connell said it perfectly, where, franchises fail young quarterbacks far before young quarterbacks fail franchises. It's because nobody wants to invest the time.
Yeah.
Everybody wants, lightning in a bottle and to win right away. And you know what? I'm a true Vikings fan through and through. I want to win a Super Bowl no matter, you know what? Probably worse than a lot of other teams in the NFL, a lot of other fan bases. I get how that feeling is impacting a lot of people's judgments right now when they comment. I get the heartbreak. I get the sick of losing, here and there. However, I think now is the time to be patient. Now is the time to develop a young team to get to the point where we can be a championship contender.
Yeah. It's going to take time. It really is. Like we've talked about this. There, you know what, and I think you made a really good point when you were saying this, that it's like, it's really easy to sit behind your keyboard and make comments and say, oh, JJ McCarthy had a terrible game. God, what a terrible decision. We should just tank the rest of the season and get another QB. And I can get the frustration, right? Like, if you're a fan of the Vikings, if you're a fan and your franchise is, spending the capital that they are to get a guy like JJ McCarthy or get a first round quarterback with a high pick, there are sky high expectations, right? And there seems to be little to no patience that comes with that anymore, because these, keyboard warriors, these people who sit and make these comments and say, oh, we need to fire everybody, and Kwesi made a mistake, he let Sam Darnold go, and we need to, Kevin O'Connell is making terrible play calls, JJ McCarthy is ruining our franchise. It's this armchair quarterback thing. It's like, really show me that you could do any better, right? And what's your solution if you go ahead and get rid of JJ McCarthy, if you go ahead and go and out and get Kirk Cousins? Like, is that what you want? Or, do you want to get rid of Kwesi? Do you want to go ahead and blow this up on the off chance that, maybe you're just frustrated and you need to give this time, right? Like, maybe that's the case. But like, it's just, we've talked about this, that it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster. There's going to be some peaks and valleys, and I truly do believe and both of us believe, we've talked about the potential for JJ McCarthy to be a superstar in this league. I think he's going to do it. I really do. And I just think the fan base, the Vikings fan base, needs to give it time, right? You can be frustrated. I know I was frustrated, like for the first part of for a large chunk of the first year of Jordan Love, I spent Sundays being so frustrated about games, and I think it's going to pan out, right? Like, I think it's just the taking the breath, right? But I think it's very easy to sit behind a keyboard and make comments and pretend that you have some sort of knowledge about calling plays and developing players in the league and making these decisions to build a franchise, you know.
Right. Well, and like some people say, like, oh, we should have signed like Daniel Jones or gone back with Sam Darnold, and I'm like, okay, like to develop JJ, and I'm like, okay, like fair, like having him sit behind a veteran quarterback. But I also believe there is merit to just kind of throwing him to the wolves a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and saying like, you know what, sink or swim.
Yep.
What are you going to do? And like he's proven, he showed a lot of great flashes. Two passes to Naylor, one just like back shoulder pass that was perfect and on the money. Long play that led to an Aaron Jones touchdown. Also another just perfectly thrown pass in the red zone, which was awesome, helping drive down the field, in a couple different situations to get a field goal. It's not all lost for the Vikings right now.
Right.
And you know what? Like, there's still very little divisional games that have been played with other teams. So, like, the table can flip really quick.
Yeah.
So we're going to see an exciting end to the season, and I'm like, you know what? If the Vikings don't make the playoffs this year, maybe that's not the worst thing for them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that I don't want them to make it there,
Yeah.
or that if they don't make it there, that like something doesn't need to change necessarily. But I think the changes are going to need to come from just spending some more time, J.J. McCarthy spending some more time with his receivers this season when he's fully healthy, making sure that he's getting those reps in so that he can be the future of the franchise. And I do believe that he can be the future of the Vikings franchise. Does he still need to keep working at it and keep developing? Yeah, sure. But at the same time, like, you can't go in there and say, oh, it was solely JJ's fault when you have 40 yards in false start penalties.
Right.
You make a 2nd and 8, a 2nd and 13, and then all of a sudden you go from, oh, maybe we run our throw like on this medium down situation to oh yeah, we're gonna throw the football.
Yeah, automatically. It puts you into, like, when you get into those situations where you're in consistently in second and third and long situations, that does not help your offense at all to function at a level. It becomes a very one-dimensional thing because you're, at some points forcing opportunities, trying to make things happen. So I think if you kind of eliminate the false start, the pre-snap penalties, right? Then you start to be able to do things like feel comfortable running on 3rd and 1. That's a bad example. You would probably run on 3rd and 1, but the point I'm making is you open up the playbook more when you put yourself in manageable situations in 2nd and mediums or 3rd and short distances instead of these long, obvious passing downs where you have to. I feel like there's to me right now I see just a little bit a hint of McCarthy feeling like he needs to make a play, so he's pushing to make a play. If that makes sense, what I'm getting at, that it's like it's not a bad thing, right? Like I want a quarterback to take chances at times and try to, you got to throw down the field and push to make these big plays, right? And get chunk yardage. But at times I've seen in these kind of losses where JJ McCarthy is kind of laboring a bit to kind of make the play happen instead of just making the read and throwing to an open Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison or TJ Hawkinson or something like that.
Yeah, and we'll continue to talk about the development and with the defense, just well done.
Well,
can't really say anything more. Just gotta limit, gotta limit turnovers. Gotta limit the penalties. The Miles Price fumble was really what changed the game.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure we're smart in those situations. It'll be and you know what? It's also another rookie. So this team is young. They have potential. We'll just have to kind of wait and see where they go, which is not what any team wants to hear. I know Packers fans were frustrated with Jordan Love a couple of years ago, but it was also like a hold the phone situation.
Yep.
He's not quite in it yet, but he will be better eventually.
Yeah.
And after about 1.5 seasons, it clicked for him. And I think the same thing can happen with McCarthy. I truly believe that he will. I hope he proves me right. If not, you know what? If he's not who he thought he was after 2-3 seasons, then it's time to move on.
Yep.
And, that's not the worst thing in the world either.
Yep. Then you rebuild. I mean, NFL franchise do it every year. Heck, unless if you're Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady
example, yeah.
Those are the three examples that I can think of in the most recent the last decade where you're like, I don't think we need to rebuild at quarterback. I think we got this locked down, right? Yeah. No, I mean, you make really great points there. It's just it takes time with a young QB, and they were right in it. Really, they beat themselves is the big thing. That's what was kind of for me just frustrating as a Packers fan to watch, is that it's just kind of the Vikings lost because they beat themselves. The Packers lost because they sucked on Monday night. That was my frustration. I was like, man, this is such an exciting game to watch. I was so happy and thrilled watching the Vikings game, and then Monday night I tune in and I'm just I'm frustrated and angry, and this is stupid and I hate football. So just two emotions that I had.
Yeah. Speaking of the Packers, they travel to the Giants on Sunday.
Yeah.
So are we down for predictions now? Are we?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do predictions. Yeah, let's go
All
ahead
right.
and jump in.
So I see the Packers winning this game.
Okay.
I'm not sure how comfortably. It's really going to come down to smart offensive play calling.
Yep.
There needs to be a great run game, and there needs to be some solid choices by Jordan Love. And I mean, he's got to just kind of take what the defense gives him until he gets some of his weapons back, and that might not be until, well, actually, we know now that it's not going to be until next year.
Yeah.
So I think the game is going to be a little bit closer than what Packers fans are comfortable with, but ultimately I see them edging out the Giants by 7 points.
Okay.
I think it could potentially, be a Jameis Winston you know, I'm coming out here to prove myself
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
And that is, I know that is something that scares a lot of Packers fans, but I also don't see if the Packers play smart, I don't see the Giants defense holding up versus Jordan Love and the run game of the Packers.
okay. No, I like that. Um, would you call this a must-win game for the Packers? Are we in must-win territory at this point for the Packers?
I would say if you guys don't win, you put yourselves in a very frustrating spot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I mean, like the loss to the Eagles put the Packers in kind of a precarious place now, right? Where we fell for the first time we've relinquished the division lead, which, as you said, we've played like what all of like each team probably only has one divisional game that they've played outside of the Bears that have played two because they started with the Vikings and then played the Lions, right? But there's divisional games to come, so it's not like this will come to shape over the next few weeks. But the Packers, with the loss to the Eagles, they slipped into third place in the NFC North, and consequently, they went from third place in the NFC in the playoff standings. Right, if it ended today, which it doesn't, but they dropped all the way to the 7 seed in the playoff picture, which it is it's kind of a very frustrating place to be, like you said. Um, I don't I don't think this is a must win. It should not be a must win. This is a situation where I think the Packers need to go out and they need to execute. I think we're out of excuses anymore for this Packers offense. We know that they have the playmakers to do it. Josh Jacobs is talented and Jordan Love is talented enough to go ahead and run this offense in a way where they can have some sustained long drives and hold on to the ball and score points and go into New York and confidently walk out of there with a victory. Now, the degree of victory, I think, is kind of dependent on how the defense is going to play. Um, if we can get the defense that showed up against the Eagles, that would be fantastic. That would make probably Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur's life a lot easier on this Sunday. I see the. I agree with you that I see the Packers winning this by 7. Um, I think we should be able to show up if it's regardless if it's Jackson Dart or Jameis Winston, but Jameis Winston has been confirmed the starter. We should be able to show up against the Giants. They're 2-8 and they have an interim head coach, so we should be able to win this game. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Could also, like we said, be a trap game with Jameis Winston revenge. Like, I mean, we'd both be happy for Jameis Winston. You'd just be a little less happy
with the result.
Packers loss. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is I will say this, there is a large potential for chaos this weekend because Jameis Winston has had some good games against the Packers, and historically interim head coaches somehow seem to kind of galvanize the team a little bit, right? So we'll see how this goes. Lot of room for chaos in this one. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Speaking of chaos, let's go to the Lions and the Eagles. Two powerhouses, as the NFL would put it, going up against each other in prime time. So it is at Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a big factor. I see the Eagles winning this one by at least 7. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be kind of a slugfest, just because both teams have pretty high-powered offenses, and I think when the Eagles play a low-scoring game, they tend to have a high scoring game afterwards. It's also like the fan base in Philly will mess up the Lions cadence a little bit.
Yeah.
uh, especially on third down. So I see the Eagles winning this one by 7. Also because of the just the overall play of the Lions against decent teams with decent defenses.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been there.
No, yeah.
So I mean, with all due respect to the Lions organization, I just don't see them pulling this one off in the end.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to be like what I predict is this is probably going to be the Sunday night football matchup or the primetime matchup that we wanted between the Packers and the Eagles this past week. Um, I think both teams clearly have the offensive firepower to make this a really exciting kind of shootout, kind of barn burner type of game. Um, I don't see it going that way. Um, Philly on both sides of the ball, they have a really talented offense and they have a just a punishing defense. I also think this is kind of a big moment in prime time, another prime time game for Philly, where they're coming off an embarrassing performance, and I think they really are going to want to come out and prove something that they can function, or at least that their offense can function at a high level and really beat these contending teams. I see this actually as like a two-score kind of game, a two-score victory for the Eagles. They come out and win this by 10, maybe even 14. I think they're gonna be playing a little frustrated. They've got something to prove and they want to kind of shake off that embarrassment and show that they are the true contender in the NFC. So
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Let's move on
yeah.
to the Vikings. You know what? I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be playing the same way with feeling like he has a little bit more to prove this Sunday.
Yeah.
I think he is dangerous. I mean, he's proven in college. After he comes off a loss, he is dangerous. He does go back, look at the tape, say like, hey, you know what? I want to tweak some things here and here. And then he comes back out and performs with the defense of the Vikings. I think it is the one of like with a fully healthy defense. Nonetheless, I think it's one of the biggest challenges Chicago has faced in a long time.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings are going to be better this game simply off the fact that they will have almost their full offensive line healthy. So the run game will be better. And the defense will be healthy this game. Despite if Grenard plays or not, we have plenty of inside rushers to get to the quarterback, but we also have one of the best edge rushers in football back, and that is Van Ginkel. I think that he's going to be very disruptive. I don't see Caleb Williams getting comfortable in this one. I think the Vikings win by 10. If they limit the pre-snap penalties and some of the sloppy mistakes they made last week. I'm sure they, have gotten that conversation at practice almost every day by Evan O'Connell.
Yeah. So, you know how I feel about the Bears. I think right now Bears are riding high, and they're feeling themselves a little bit right now, right? And what I really want out of this matchup, and I think this is one of my favorite divisional matchups. Bears and Vikings have been some really great games. They've come down to the wire over the last few years. Sometimes going in favor of the Vikings, sometimes going in favor of the Bears, but overwhelmingly for the past few years, it's been in favor of the Vikings. I think this is one where Vikings come in, they're going to take care of business. They should take care of business against a team that has yet to prove that they can do it against higher quality opponents. Um, Defense is going to be at full strength for the Vikings, or relatively full strength, I should say. The offensive line is going to be there. Run game is going to be a huge factor. Um, I like Vikings to win this. I like them to win it by 7, just because of the nature of how divisional games go. I just think this is ends up being a close one, but please, please, please beat the Bears. I just, I will not tolerate a Bears victory. I cannot have them, all of a sudden feeling themselves with 7 wins. No, but I like Vikings by 7. This is a good, kind of bounce back for them. A good game for J.J. McCarthy to show that he can piece it together and he can have these flashes of brilliance in these really great games. And I want to see Kevin O'Connell just, make really great play calls and get Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones involved in it. And I predict this is I'm going to make a prediction that this is a big game for Justin Jefferson. It's a Justin Jefferson day.
Yeah, I think he's got something to prove too, and I think he's going to be coming out with a vengeance based off what people have been saying.
Yeah, can we have like 130 and 2 TDs? Like could it be that kind of day for Justin Jefferson? That'd be fantastic to watch.
I mean, it would be awesome to see him do that. I'm expecting a big day out of him. I'm expecting Naylor to get more involved too, who has been brilliant. Like we said, he's needed to get better. He's answered that call. And I also expect some big things out of Addison. I see us using the tight ends sparingly. Again, which is a little frustrating for me as a Vikings fan. But you know how much I love those like little in routes and stuff like that. I'd call them on you all the time and Madden, and you'd be so frustrated because you didn't know where they'd be coming from.
So mad. I hate little curl routes. Those freaking the inside curl routes, or like scissors concept, or slant, just like the quick slants. Ugh, make me so mad. They make me so mad. No, if I could just like get on the phone and I could tell Kevin O'Connell one thing, like during the game, like if I could just be in the headset and just like be like, "Hey Kevin, can you just throw to your tight ends, please?" Like,
Yeah.
like I'm like, I have a soft spot. I do. I have a soft spot for T.J. Hawkinson because he's a former Hawkeye, and I just want to see him do well. So I think they should throw to the tight ends more, but it's hard to do that when you've got 3 talented wide receivers that you're trying to get the ball to as well. So sometimes the distribution, but should be a big day. I'll take Vikings by 7, and just say my message is please beat the Bears. Just do it for me. Make my weekend complete.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Well, yeah. I think with that, that's a good place to stop. This has been For the North. I'm Chris, and
I'm PJ.
And thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe down below. And for our loyal listeners, our loyal, however many listeners we have from week to week, won't say the number quite. It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it, and hope you enjoy the content as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to all of our loyal fans. We appreciate you so much.
All right. Good night, everybody.